this infantry unit is going to come around and join into the battle. And that is really going to swing things over. Hey Wargamers, here we go. This is our Arthur Taylor rules demonstration. And I have the brand new Risk stands all set up. I'm very excited to use those. And we're also going to be using, for the very first time, the solo Wargame campaign rules. Now, these are available on the Substack for subscribers. They will also be available on the itch.io later on when we've completed the mini campaign and I've made all the edits that need to get made. So, but for right now, they're just for subscribers. But do check it out and subscribe. I think you'll get some good value. But in any case, we're going to start with Arthur Taylor's rules from Rules for Wargames. 1971, I believe, is the year that these were published. Just a couple of things. We have on this side the Red Militia of the town of Don Benito. This is the Blue Garrison, the Maquillon Garrison from the Union of Maquillon. These are on the red side because they are ethnic Serenagorians or Serenigans, let's say Serenigans. And they are going to be in the skirmish bases that we're going to use that. So they'll be open formation, and all of the infantry troops for the townsfolk will be the skirmish troops. We also have a cavalry company. There are 2 stands. The one with the flag will be the commander, the captain in charge of that particular company. They are here to find out what's going on. If you watch the previous video, part 1, you'll see that there's some sort of rebellion going on here, and they're coming to find out what's happening and whether they should support it or how they should support it, what they should do best. The Maquillon troops are also supported by cavalry from headquarters, and they are not happy with the presence of the Serenigans, and so they're going to try to capture them, and we'll see what happens. A couple of things here. I put an objective marker in the Maquillon Fortress. That is the base for all of the troops. I also have here the Town Hall, and here is the bank. So those are 2 objectives within the town. Basically, the red troops, their objective is to hold the town and not take too many casualties. If they take too many casualties, which at this point we're going to set at 25%, they are going to flee. And there may or may not be some fun and games regarding that. Now, also, the Maquillon troops, the blue troops, they are not in this to slaughter their countrymen. So they also will only take 20% casualties before they pull back and call for aid. This direction is north. That leads to the river and the road that leads to Aguilar, which is the capital of the province. You can also get there this way. And we have a couple of Serenigan scouts. And here we have Maquillon scouts, or messengers, I should say, who may try to ride to give news of what happens. So that's where we are with that. We're going to be using the officer characteristics that I pre-generated. Again, I just sorted them out randomly. The first one here, the Red Cavalry Captain. He has a command competency rating of 3. Intelligence 58, Initiative 35, Courage of 82, Charisma of 28, a Strength of 99, and a Health of 96. So he's a strapping young man. He's just not very friendly and not very experienced, I think. The blue captain of the infantry, which is the last stand you see here, and then the blue captain of the cavalry, they are both CCR 5. The infantry captain has an intelligence of 50, initiative of 76, courage of 77, charisma of 76, strength of 55, and a health of 66. So he is just above average in about every category. The blue cavalry captain has an intelligence of 41, initiative 76, courage of 81, charisma 76, strength of 67, and a health of 98. So he's also strapping and ready to rock. The militia themselves are looking to the cavalry captain for leadership. They do not have a leader per se. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and established the morale for each of the types of units. The red militia have a morale of 3. The red cavalry have a morale of 4. The blue infantry have a morale of 4, and the blue cavalry have a morale of 5. So that's the highest they can get, and that will impact what they do. We don't have die rolling in this particular contest. Everything is decided by charts. We went over this in the rules walkthrough, but I will show just a quick reminder. Whenever we have any sort of casualties, and the casualties are determined by this chart here, and that's the number of muskets. And what we're going to do is we're going to count the number of muskets on the stand. So a basic stand will have 6 muskets, and so they can do quite a few casualties all the way out to 40 millimeters or 40 centimeters. Then after casualties have been determined, we'll look at this chart on page 75 for the morale. And depending on the casualties, we'll just go over here and compare it with their morale score. So for instance, if one of those stands loses just even one figure, that will be between 10% and 50%. And with their morale of 3, that is going to be an X, which means they'll fall back 1 move in good order. So that is that. So we won't have any dice unless I need to make a decision. And in that case, what we'll do is we're going to use the formula that I've started using, which is a 1 or 2 will be the aggressive plan, 3 or 4 will be the diplomatic plan, and 5 or 6 will be a defensive maneuver. So when I get to a point, or if I get to a point where I don't know what the person will decide, we'll look at that, and maybe we'll look at the officer's courage as well and see how that works out. Now, we also have 3 blinds in this particular game. The hills, the forest, and the fields, in case it becomes necessary for people to move through them. I have some little cards here: hills, fields, and woods. And those are the terrain cards that I had made up. Those are available on the itch.io. Again, they're free download. You can print them out for yourself and use them in your games. But what will happen is when someone moves onto one of those terrain pieces, if they move onto one of those terrain pieces, then we'll draw a card and see what the effects of that terrain are. So until then, the terrain will be essentially an unknown factor. Now, the last thing that we're going to do, movement and shooting is measured in millimeters, and I'm going to cut all of those distances in half because the table is so small. If we had a bigger table, I'd go ahead and do that, but I want this distance between the troops to be further, and frankly, that's only 30 centimeters. So they can start shooting right off the bat, and I don't want to do that. So we're going to call that 60 60 centimeters, 600 millimeters, in order to stretch this out just a little bit and create some maneuver. So, and then with regards to people in the fortifications or the built-up areas, being in the fortification, that is going to be -2 to any casualties. We're also going to say that anyone shooting at the people in the built-up area from more than a range of 10 centimeters, according to the book, which will be 5 centimeters here, they'll get a +2. Inside that range, or a -2, I should say, to any casualties. If you're shooting at them from inside of 10 centimeters, which will actually be 5, then they'll have a -1 for being in the built-up area. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and begin. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move, and then we'll do any firing, and then if anyone is in base contact, we'll do close combat. And as you recall from the Wargame Book Club video, close combat is handled on this chart, and this chart is used for like versus like attackers, if infantry is attacking infantry or cavalry attacking cavalry. Then we use this chart here for attacks by cavalry against infantry. So I guess that's it. That's pretty much all we need to know. And as I said, this battle is taking place on March 11th, which is day 2 of the 3rd week of the Hyde River Valley War campaign. So let's go ahead and do our movement. Now, the cavalry movement is 40 centimeters, so we're going to make that 20, so they'll be able to move just a little bit. These numbers are going to look really small and ridiculous. However, I think it'll make for a more interesting game, and it might last a few more turns. So, our very first inflection point here. What should the cavalry do? The aggressive maneuver is going to be to ride straight for the town of Don Benito. The diplomatic maneuver will be to ride around and try to flank these fellas here. And I think the defensive move will be to split up and try to go ahead and block this road as well. So, let's roll a d6 and see what we get for the choice for the cavalry movement. That's a 2. That's the aggressive one, so they're going to ride straight ahead. Okay. And infantry can move. What am I doing? 20 centimeters, not 2 centimeters. Good grief. So they're going to ride straight on. Infantry can move 15 centimeters, so that'll take them to 7.5. And regardless of what their choice might be, they need to get closer before they can do anything. So let's go ahead and move them closer. All right, for the red movement, everyone is going to stay put. However, I will roll a d6 for the cavalry on a 1. they're going to charge the blue cavalry in an effort to stop this battle really before it begins. There you go. All right. So they're going to charge. The cavalry charge, they get plus 10 centimeters, so that would give them 50. So their total charge distance is 25. And the distance they're at 19, so they are definitely able to charge into combat. And we will have our first combat. The men are going to stay put at this point. In terms of shooting, like I said, the range for the musket fire goes out to 50 centimeters, so that'll be 25 centimeters. So no one's really in range except for those cavalry. However, they're engaged in that melee, so we're going to let that go. So, cavalry versus cavalry. Number of attackers versus number of defenders. We have 2 versus 2. And a frontal attack on level ground, that's going to be 1 casualty for an even up attack. The defenders will also inflict 1 casualty. So each of these stands can take 6 casualties. The skirmish stands can take 3 casualties. So we'll go ahead and mark them with this. And then we're going to check our chart, our casualty chart, morale chart. 1 out of 6 is 16%. So that is going to be right here on the chart. And with the blue cavalry with a morale of 5, that's going to be an O, which means they'll fight on. And the red cavalry also has the same casualties, and so they also get an O, so they'll fight on as well. So when we get to turn 2, that's where we'll be with that. So that is our first round of combat. All right, now, just so we know, and so you're aware, in the second round of combat, we use the casualty chart the same way. In the third round, casualties are reduced by 1. So we'll see what happens with that. But for right now, let's go ahead and switch over to turn 2. So here we are with turn 2, and I just remembered, like a dope, I have these fun casualty markers that I made so they don't have to leave dice on the table and make it look cluttered, because I know you guys don't like that. So there we are with our casualty markers, and we'll let them pile up on either side of the troops as needed. So let's go ahead and do our movement for the second turn. And the cavalry, let's do a roll-off, because the cavalry are going to try to lap around and try to engage on a 1 to a 3. They're going to go to the left. So let's see what happens with that. Okay, so the blue force is going to go to the left. The red force is going to go to the right. So that's very interesting. So what's going to happen is we're going to do this. Excuse me. So that's what that combat is going to look like. Now, the foot troops, they can actually charge into combat as well. And I believe while they are more than 7.5 away, they are 14 away. So when infantry charges, they get to make +5 centimeters, which would make their movement 20, which would be 10. So they can't actually reach. So they're going to go ahead and march another 7.5, which will put them there. And that will be all of the movement for turn 2. So let's go ahead and resolve our battle. For cavalry versus cavalry, we used chart A. And now we have 4 versus 4. Well, technically it's 11 versus. So in any case, it's even up. So it's going to be, once again, 1 casualty on either side. And now when we get to the 3rd round, there won't be any casualties because it'll descend into a melee. So I think what we'll do is when we get to the end of round or turn 3, we'll have both of those units move back 1 move in good order because they're unable to do anything in order to press the attack. And that will be the end of turn 2. All right, so for turn 3, the blue infantry are going to join into the battle. The first company only, they're going to charge into battle. The second company are going to move around in support and continue on their objective in order to try to reach the town. So what we're going to do is I'm going to move this casualty marker over here, and let's go ahead, and that is only 6, so 12 easily within distance. So this unit will attack here. And then this unit is going to move in this direction, so they'll be able to move just off the road a little bit, right there. Now, in terms of combat, it's no longer even up. And so we also have 2 different charts to use. So we're going to use an even up chart for the cavalry. And we have a flank attack. So the infantry, the blue infantry, are going to cause 2 casualties, while the red cavalry will cause 1. So we have 1 casualty here, and then 2 more casualties here. Now, in terms of morale, that is going to definitely be a thing. So, on the morale chart, both of these units and this one are in the 16% range, which is these two. Now, this unit of blue infantry, their morale is 4, and they're in the 16% range, so they're there. However, the red cavalry, even though they're right at 50%, so they're going to stay here as well. But they're going to suffer some more losses in just a moment. So that's going to be the end of turn 3, and we'll move to turn 4. So for turn 4, this infantry unit is going to come around and join into the battle, and that is really going to swing things over. The other infantry are going to move 7.5 centimeters in this direction. And at this point, we are going to make a saving throw, as it were, for these troops. They are worried about the cavalry out there getting slaughtered. And so on a 1, 2 of those units, either this one or this one, will run out to join them. So we'll see what happens. So we'll roll for this unit first. They have a 5. The second one has a 5 also. All right. So they will not be running out to join. But now we're going to do the battle. And now we have some serious differences. These here are not going to cause any damage to each other. This one, however, there are 5 here, there are 6 here, that's 11, there are only 3 there. So we're going to call that 3-1. And on the chart, 3-1 on a level flank and from the rear. So we're going to call that 2 more casualties. And then 1 more casualty for the blue troops. So they're going to take 1 casualty. And this unit is going to be down to 5. So now we've got a real bad situation here. And it looks like those stands will probably be leaving the battle. So the first 2, both at 16%, they're going to be there. However, the red cavalry with a morale of 4 is over 50% casualties. And or they're over 2-1. So an X means they're going to fall back 1 move in good order. And so the only way they can go is directly south. And so that will be 20 centimeters that they're going to move. And 20 centimeters is going to put them right back into the edge of town. However, they are in good order, so they're going to be facing this direction. And they have 5 casualty markers. So there's not much left there, really just the commander. And that will be the end of turn 4. Alrighty, so for turn 5, let's go ahead and move the blue first. The blue are going to move into combat here. And these move around here. And these will advance another 7.5 centimeters. Now, let's roll once more for the red commander. His leadership is 4. I'm sorry. His command competency is 3. So he's going to order them to stay put. And they will do so on a 3 or less. So let's see here. Okay, this one is not going to. They are going to go ahead and charge, which is, they can move 7.5. No, they can, I'm sorry, they can move 9. They can normally move 18 because they're skirmish. So they can normally move 18 centimeters. So they're going to move 9 centimeters. And that means that the range there is now 26, so that's going to be 50. Range is 27 to the center, so that's 54. So that's going to be out of musket range. And because these fellas are charging, they're not going to be able to shoot. These moved their maximum, so they're not going to be able to shoot either. So there won't be any shooting this turn, and now we'll do the melee. So we have 5 here, and then 5, 10, 15 here. So now we're at 3 to 1, and it's a flanking. So on chart A, 3 to 1, level ground, flanking. It's going to be 2 more casualties and 1 casualty by the defenders. So the defenders, we're going to put the casualty on the infantry. And then we have 2 casualties on the cav. So now they're at 50%. And leadership 4. Sorry, morale 4. So that's going to be an O, which means they will fight on. And that'll be the end of turn 5. And now here we are at turn 6. And we're going to roll and see if these guys have the presence of mind to take a shot at some of these troops, or if they're going to go ahead and charge in. And on a 1 to 4, they're going to charge. So they're going to charge and not shoot. These fellows, however, are planning on moving around to surround the cavalry. And they can still shoot and move half their distance. So they're going to go ahead and shoot at these fellows when they're charging in. And this blue company are going to simply continue to move towards the town in order to take the town. So let's move them first. 7.5. And then the distance for this is 6.5, so we're going to move them 3. And then they're going to take a shot. So the range from center to center is 8. So that's going to count as 16, which is 160 millimeters. And according to the musket chart, over 160 but less than 200, and there are 5 muskets shooting, so that'll be 3 casualties minus 1 if the target is in open order. So that will be 2 casualties on the first unit of skirmishers. Now, since they've been shot at, they will need to make a morale check right off the bat. And that is more than 50% casualties. The militia has a morale of 3. So that becomes a Y, which means fall back 2 moves in good order, which means that they're going to fall back through the other unit, which will cause them to rout as well. So both of those units are going to fall back 2 moves in good order, which will be 9 centimeters. And I have a feeling that's basically going to put them right back where they were. Yes. And then we'll complete their move at 7.5, so they're going to be able to come around here. And then in terms of melee, this is going to cause some more casualties. We are now at 5, 9, 19 versus 3. 19 versus 3 is 6-1. And that means that we're going to have 4 casualties. So that's going to wipe out the light cavalry. However, they are going to be able to inflict 3 casualties back. No, they'll cause 3 casualties back. So we will divide those out evenly. And then we're going to remove this unit from the board. All right, so now keep in mind 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We had 6 units. We can only lose 2 before they're going to lose their nerve and flee. The blue have not yet come anywhere close to, have they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 40. 48. So they're at about 16%. So they're doing okay for right now. Let's see what happens in turn 7. All right, so we're back for turn 7. And the blue forces are going to reform. That's going to cost their whole move. And the red forces are going to open fire. So what's going to happen with that is, let's go ahead and do the movement. The second company here is just going to move like so. The first company here is going to move like so. And then these two units are both at half strength, so they are going to actually consolidate into one unit. And that will take their complete move as well. And so they're just going to stay right there. So we have lost 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times 6 is 36. Plus 4 is 40. 41. 8 out of 41. I'm sorry, no. This counts as 6 as well, so that's going to be 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 6 is 42. Plus 4 is 50. So they have taken 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 casualties out of 50. So they're not quite at 20% yet. So we're still in the game. But I think this shooting is going to sort that out. Now, shooting is simultaneous. Excuse me. So let's go ahead and check out these ranges and who's going to shoot at whom. Range from this unit, that is 15 centimeters, so we're going to call that 30. And this is 12 centimeters, so we're going to call that 24. So 30 and 24 from here, and then these here, that is 18, so we'll call that 36. So 30, 24, and 36. Now, 6 muskets here. Each of these stands as 6 muskets that will be firing. Here at 30 centimeter range up to 300 millimeters, that's going to be 2 casualties. So both of those will cause 2 casualties, so that's going to be 4. These two are at 24, which is going effectively the same range. However, those both, I'm sorry, this one is at 5 muskets, so it's going to cause 2 more casualties. And this one is only 3 muskets, so that will cause 1. So that is a total of 7. There's only 1 left here. There's 3 here. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7. So what's going to happen is we're going to reduce that by 2 for, well, this guy's not in the built-up area, so he's going to be gone. So that takes out 1. So there's 6 left, which will reduce by 2 to 4 for being in cover, and then reduce it 1 more for being in open formation, so that's 3. So they're still going to be wiped out. But that takes up all of those shots. Now, there's 4 muskets there that get to shoot back at the 24 range. So that'll be 1 additional casualty on this unit. So we're going to put that there. And then this unit here will get to shoot there again at 30. There are 6 muskets. At 30 is 2 casualties. So that will make one of these 3 and one of these 4. All right, so we are going to be perilously close to our breakpoints at this juncture. We've done our movement. We've done our shooting. Take these off. So let's go ahead and tally these up. We have lost 3, 6, 10 for the red. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 24, 28, 32. 10 out of 32. So they have passed their break point of 25%. So the red forces are going to retire. Now, blue, they have lost 4, 8, 9, 10, 11 out of, what do we say, 50? So they're over their 20%. So now both forces have reached their breakpoints in terms of the scenario, the narrative portion of the scenario. This battle has just plain gotten too bloody for either commander's taste. So both of them are going to retire from the field. And so in that case, being as the red forces are not disciplined, I'm going to give them 1 or 2. These guys will take a shot at them, a parting shot as they go. And that will count as between 30 and 40 centimeters. All right, so that's one more parting shot. Between 30 and 40 centimeters for 3 muskets is no casualties. So, to add insult to injury, they don't do any more damage, and all of the troops retire from the field. So, that went really smooth. Definitely interesting without the rolling of the dice for the combats. I think that went really fast. If I need to print out those sheets or make copies or something so I can have a little quick reference sheet available. So I guess I'll go ahead and add that to my list of things to do. But I'll put that in a download for you guys on the Substack. Well, yeah, I like it. It went fast. We went through 7 turns. I think it would have been fewer turns if we'd used the full measurement distances. So I think that worked out really well. I think we could come up with a way to make up some measuring sticks. But yeah, that was really interesting. I think this is a cool game, and I think there are things that we can learn from it. And I believe that we can take that morale chart. I think we can take that morale chart and do something with that. I really like the way that the morale is set up in the terms of getting the morale score. I really, really like that. So I'll be adding that for sure to the Leader of Men project. But I think the casualty chart, I'm going to expand that. I think I will make it taller in terms of the number of choices, in terms of breaks. And we'll probably do that in, maybe in eighths, with, or 10% increments. And then draw a line from there. So there you go. All right. Well, thanks for watching. For everybody that's still here, I really appreciate it. As always, hit that like button, share this with your friends. And again, if you have any questions or comments, please leave a comment down below in the comment section on the video. Or if you're watching this on the Substack, go ahead and leave a comment there as well. Although if you do click through and watch it on YouTube, Leaving a like and a comment on YouTube really helps the algorithm to spread this video around. So thanks again. Have a great day and keep on gaming.